This woman saw a man abandon a package at the airport. When she opened it, she had to speak out. In 2016, Florida woman Ivelisse Hernandez was at the airport when she saw a man drop something suspicious in the trash. She was dying to learn what the object was, so her boyfriend went to retrieve the mystery item. The couple immediately understood the value of the object they uncovered and decided that they needed to do something about the situation. Back in February 2016, Tampa resident Ivelisse Hernandez ended up doing something remarkable for a total stranger. The whole story began when Hernandez and her boyfriend took a trip over to Tampa Bay's St. Pete Clearwater International Airport. It was there that she witnessed something that was so impactful to her that it inspired her to become even more than just a good Samaritan. Hernandez and her boyfriend were bound for Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, when they made their incredible discovery. What was going to be a typical day of traveling turned out to be the opposite of what the couple had expected. While most people want to forget about ever being in an airport, this would be an experience in the airport that she would never forget. Yet the whole story was set into motion long before Hernandez ever even stepped foot in the airport. In fact, the entire episode began unfolding when the couple, bound for Pittsburgh, were going through security at the airport. Hernandez noticed that there was apparently an issue with something in a fellow passenger's bag ahead of her in line. It turned out that the passenger had a restricted item inside of their luggage that they weren't allowed to take past that point. Unfortunately, the passenger was then asked to throw the object away to their dismay. When traveling on airplanes these days, officers from the Transportation Security Administration, or TSA, have strict rules regarding people traveling with liquids. The typical rule is that air travelers aren't allowed to bring items that contain more than 3.4 ounces of fluid with them onto the airplane in a carry-on bag. This is why it's extremely common to see people being forced to throw away things such as shampoo, water, and other beverages at the security checkpoint. Usually, although it may not be pleasurable to throw away your toiletries or drinks, most of those items can be replaced once you get past security or once you get to your destination. However, in this instance, it wasn't something that could be replaced like a bottle of water. Hernandez could tell that the male traveler was being asked to throw away something of sentimental value, but regardless, he had no say in the matter. The man even politely asked if he could place the bag in the airport's lost and found. That way he could get it back somehow, no matter what the means. Unfortunately, airport security denied his request, and he reluctantly threw the object away in the trash can. While watching the whole situation unfold, both Hernandez and her boyfriend both felt that something about the whole situation didn't feel right. So Hernandez's boyfriend went into the trash to uncover what the man had been forced to leave behind. When he looked inside of the trash, he found a box. So he pulled the box from out of the bin in order to see what the contents were. When he opened the box, he understood why the man had desperately not wanted to part with it. It really was of sentimental value. When they opened the box, they discovered that the contents inside was a snow globe. However, this wasn't just any snow globe that people buy while on vacation. This one had photos that appeared to have pictures of family members inside, with a meaningful inscription that said, "We love you, Katie, Nana, and Papa." 125:16. Upon seeing this heartfelt message and the pictures, the couple knew that they had to do something to return what the man had lost. After the couple made their heartbreaking discovery, they couldn't help but feel terrible that the man was forced to leave such a precious item behind, especially that he had to throw it away. So the couple devised a plan. They decided that the best thing to do would be to track the man back so that they could hopefully return it back to him. The couple decided to use the tools that they had at hand and took to the internet, a place where almost any problem can help be solved. They logged onto Facebook and wrote a post about the situation. Then they asked the people of the internet to share their post in hopes of eventually reaching the poor man that lost his meaningful snow globe. They were desperately hoping that their message would eventually reach the man at the airport. While the couple knew that their post on Facebook might just be a shot in the dark, it was still worth a try. However, they could have never anticipated what would happen next. Hernandez admitted that, "I thought it would share a couple hundred times," she told Fox 13 News in April 2016. Amazingly, on the same day, the post had gone viral. The post was being shared thousands of times, with more every minute. Hernandez and her boyfriend were still hopeful, however, that they thought that maybe their post would just eventually die down and fade away entirely. Yet 7 days since their original post, it had been reposted more than 48,000 times. The two were completely awestruck by the power of the internet, considering they thought the post would only receive a little attention. As a result of their effort, and with a little bit of internet magic, the couple finally got the information that they were looking for. An employee from the gift shop Things Remembered came across Hernandez's post. There was something about the snow globe that caught her eye and made her think that she had seen it before, so the employee hopped onto her work database to try and figure out who had ordered the snow globe from the store. Miraculously, the Things Remembered worker managed to track down the name of the person that had originally ordered and purchased the sentimental snow globe. The customer that had ordered the gift was named Linda Maudry, who had purchased the globe as a gift for her granddaughter Katie. Unfortunately, the little girl never got the globe that was meant for her, as her adopted father had been forced to throw it away at airport security. Thanks to the help of Hernandez and her boyfriend, along with everyone that shared the post on Facebook, it looked like a reunion was in the making for the little girl and her intended snow globe. Fox News 13 then picked up the story and followed it all the way up until the beloved snow globe was returned to the original buyer. Maudry arrived at Hernandez's doorstep to receive the gift that she and her husband feared they had lost forever. When Hernandez opened the door to greet Maudry, she handed her back the once missing gift. Maudry was overwhelmed with joy and appreciation that Hernandez and her boyfriend had gone through all of this to return the snow globe. While embracing, Maudry said, "I can't believe that you did this." She even brought Hernandez flowers to show her gratitude for everything that the couple had done for her family. While Maudry was still in disbelief, Hernandez was happy just knowing that the gift had been returned to its rightful owner. Opening up about why she did as she did, Hernandez commented that, "My mom always raised us to always be good to people. If it was me and I lost my snow globe, I'd want the same thing to happen to me." So to Hernandez, returning the gift was the obvious thing to do, because that's just how she was raised. While Hernandez didn't think it was that big of a deal, Maudry saw her actions as nothing but selfless and pure-hearted. Maudry proclaimed that people are basically really good and she's just exceptional. With that being said, it's not wrong to say that plenty of other passengers may have been interested in seeing what the man threw away, but would not have gone to these lengths in order to make sure it got back to the right hands. But thankfully, Hernandez and her boyfriend were on the scene, a couple that was willing to do what it took to set things right. People other than Maudry and her family thought that what Hernandez and her boyfriend did was incredible as well. Facebook users from all over thanked Hernandez and her boyfriend for showing the world that a little kindness can go a long way. One user even posted, "So happy the owner was found. May God bless you and your boyfriend 10 times over. In a world where social media isn't always the nicest place, Hernandez and her boyfriend proved that it doesn't always have to be that way." While for some people a missing snow globe might not be the end of the world, the story isn't just about a snow globe. It's proof that there are still people out there that are willing to do the right thing, even if it means putting some extra work in. Hernandez and her boyfriend didn't do it for fame or for reward, but because they knew it would make a family happy. Their story has been an inspiration to many people, which has hopefully encouraged others to act the same way. There's nothing like having your actions praised on social media to reaffirm your decision to do the right thing. As news of Hernandez's kind deed spread to various social media outlets, she found some pretty terrific feedback from strangers. Her one act of paying it forward had made a huge impact on others' lives. On the Facebook page for a group called Love What Matters, people expressed how happy Hernandez's actions had made them. Many said she would be blessed in return for her good deed. It turns out that all those strangers on Facebook were correct in saying that Hernandez would be blessed. 2 years after returning the snow globe, Evilise shared that she is now expecting a child of her own. It's difficult to imagine anyone being so fit to be a great mother as Evilise. She will undoubtedly be a wonderful parent. And it turns out that her actions at the airport that day had unexpected effects elsewhere too. There is now some great news for fans of snow globes. Lisa Farbstein with the Transportation Security Administration told NPR that it's now okay to bring snow globes along with you, under one condition. She said you can now carry on small snow globes as long as they are put in those plastic bags along with your other small bottles of liquids. They also must be smaller than a tennis ball. Many people pass through airports across the world. It's kind of a given that things are going to get a little weird every once in a while. But some things that happen before and after planes have taken off go beyond the unexpected. Whether there have been exotic animals loose in the building or human body parts being transported that definitely shouldn't be, some truly insane moments have gone down in all kinds of major airports. Some of these things might sound like they couldn't possibly be true, but trust us, they totally are. Even the ones that sound like they came straight from a horror movie. It's illegal for certain institutions not to let people bring their legitimate service animals with them, even in places where animals typically aren't allowed. But that didn't exactly work for this woman and her pet. When a lady attempted to bring her emotional support peacock on a United Airlines flight out of Newark Airport, she was denied, because obviously, peacocks can't really go on planes. Duh. A spokesperson for the airline said it was officially because the peacock didn't meet guidelines for animals who are safely able to travel with them, which makes a lot of sense because, like we said, it's a peacock. Gonna find out who's naughty or nice? Looks like Santa scored himself a spot on the naughty list. We're not entirely sure why this man is dressed in a Santa suit or why TSA stopped him while going through security. Maybe they just needed to give him a thorough pat-down because he's wearing so many layers. But by the look on the employees' faces, he was up to no good. Santa won't be coming to town tonight. Obviously, traveling with exotic animals is just about impossible, unless you follow the correct protocols and you're a zoo trying to get an animal to another zoo. But this woman decided to take matters into her own hands. In 2010, a drugged tiger cub was found in a suitcase that was coming from Thailand. Apparently, a woman had packed the tiger in with stuffed toys and was hoping to bring him to Iran with her. In the end, the tiger was fine, but the woman faced major criminal charges and fines. As she should. Drugging an exotic animal like that and keeping one as a pet? Not okay, lady. Anyone who's ever had a long layover or has been stuck in an airport for hours because of a delayed or canceled flight can definitely understand that at a certain point, you'll do anything to kill the time and your boredom. Hence this next story. A man named Richard Dunn made a music video to Celine Dion's All By Myself while he had an overnight layover in Las Vegas, and it was a total hit. Originally made to make his wife, who was at home, laugh, the video ended up going viral and even Celine herself watched and loved it, and offered Richard tickets to one of her upcoming shows. Most people arrive to the airport in sweats and sneakers, but not this woman. We've seen a lot of crazy things at the airport, but we'd never seen a life-size Barbie at the airport until now. Alright, so obviously this woman is a human, at least we think, and not a Mattel doll made of plastic, but the resemblance is striking. She's got Barbie's height, the long blonde locks, and the outfit to pull it off. She's even carrying her luggage in a Barbie-like manner. It's hard to look your best at the airport. Traveling is exhausting and really sucks the life out of you. Just take a look at anyone walking off a long flight and chances are they look dehydrated and tired. And that's being forgiving. While this is true for most of us, Minka Kelly is the exception. The actress was spotted going through airport security looking gorgeous, which is honestly unbelievable considering how hard it is to look put together there. There's something fascinating about seeing celebrities go through airport security like the rest of us. Seeing Kim K get properly searched really brings us a profound joy that we'd rather not analyze. By the looks of it, this airport security employee was pretty concerned that Kim was smuggling something around her chest. Obviously she wasn't, but still, it's interesting to see Kim not flying in her private jet. We wonder if she had to take off her Yeezys too. When two cheetahs were being transported to the Memphis Zoo, one of them got loose in the cargo hold when the plane made a stop in Atlanta. Local Zoo Atlanta employees were called in to help trap the cheetah, because honestly, how else would you solve that situation without calling in the professionals? Eventually, a veterinarian had to shoot the cheetah with a tranquilizer gun so they could get everything under control. Fortunately, no passengers were harmed, and both cheetahs who were traveling that day were safe and also unharmed. So at least this story had a happy ending. Anyone who's ever owned or even ridden in an old car knows that sometimes all it needs is a good push. And apparently that applies to planes too. In 2014, passengers had to band together to avoid a delayed flight in Siberia when their plane got stuck in the ice on the runway. They actually worked together to push the plane free, because that's how badly they wanted to get home. Listen, we've all reached that point where all we wanted was to get on a plane without one more delay. So it kinda makes sense that these people were able to find the strength to make it happen. In 2017, all operations in Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport came crashing down when the airport lost power, which was, no big deal or anything since it was just happening at the world's busiest airport. Officials later said that the outage was probably caused by a fire, and it took hours for the power to be brought back online and for operations to finally be restored. Thousands of people were displaced after hundreds of flights were canceled that day, which had to be the biggest travel headache ever. Can you imagine an airport full of people with no one going anywhere and no power? There's a part of us that really doesn't want to know why this photo of 80 falcons on a plane exists. But alas, we're here to ask the tough questions. So, why? This photo was snapped on Etihad Airways flight. Apparently, Etihad Airways has a policy that allows birds to travel between countries in the Middle East as long as their owner has a valid passport. A Saudi prince wanted to take advantage of this policy to the fullest extent. Airports install the armrests in between seats so 1. Flyers have a place to sit, and 2. So people won't do this. While some might consider this woman rude for taking up not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 seats at the airport, we're far more impressed than ticked off. This isn't something everyone could accomplish. Not only do you have to be trim enough to fit under those small armrests, but you've got to be agile too. Yep, we're going with impressed on this one. Listen, kid, we've been there before. We were angsty youngsters who didn't want to be caught dead with their parents on vacation. But if you learn one thing in life, please let it be to enjoy this time. Before you know it, you're going to be working a 9 to 5 to pay the bills, and the only time you'll get off is a few measly days a year. Plus, when you do go on your annual vacation, you'll be paying for everything yourself. There's nothing like spending hours crafting the perfect sign to greet your loved one with at the airport. If you're the one arriving home from a long trip, it feels great to have your family greet you so warmly. But perhaps they shouldn't give too much information. We're sure this mom was ecstatic to see her family after she was gone for what we assume was a long time. We're not sure that this mom was ecstatic that the entire airport knows she was in the slammer. Traveling with kids isn't exactly easy, but this dad knows how to tame this little one. Instead of having a jet lag-induced meltdown, this girl is living her best life riding on dad's suitcase. This situation is really a win-win for everyone. His daughter is happy, and everyone in the airport is ecstatic that they have one less crying child to have to deal with. Just because you're a pilot and get to fly around all day doesn't mean you're exempt from parking. It looks like this pilot needs some more training. While we're sure this was an accident, we can't help but cringe all the amount of money it had to cost to fix that building and the aircraft. Not to mention, it makes us question the pilot's skills. Would you get on a plane that they were flying? We can tell the marketing team for Turkish Airlines had the best intentions. This graphic on the elevator going up would have a completely different and likely the intended meaning. But somehow this seems to have gotten past multiple teams, none of which bothered to ensure the plane would be going on its intended trajectory, up. Now, one of the last images passengers see before they board the plane is this photo of a plane that looks like it's careening toward the ground. They say ignorance is bliss, and we have to say they're right. It's probably better that these men don't know what's going on right in front of them, because if they did, we're sure they would be embarrassed. This situation is really a win-win. The men have no idea and are simply enjoying their conversation. Meanwhile, the people across from them are having a great time looking at them. Ignorance truly is bliss. What do you do when you're in the middle of a long shift where customers have been extra rude and self-important? You play solitaire, of course. At least that's what this TSA employee does. We're 100% certain that they thought they were being extremely slick. After all, there's no way customers can see behind, right? Right? Wrong. Let's just hope the manager didn't catch a glimpse of this. We wonder if they won, though. Back in 2012, a Norwegian man arrived at Rome's airport to travel like any other person would. But there was one small issue. He was really, really drunk. Complete chaos ensued. Apparently, he fell asleep on the baggage scanner and ended up going through the X-ray machine. In fact, the movement of the belt didn't even wake him up. He was there for 15 minutes, sound asleep, until police officers discovered him sleeping there in the fetal position. He was later taken to the hospital just to make sure the radiation from the machine hadn't harmed him, and probably to sober up. A man in Iceland was arrested when he was found to be wearing too many clothes. Yes, you read that right. It wasn't because he was cold, though. It was because he piled on about 8 different outfits to avoid paying for excess baggage fee. It's not baggage if it's on your body, right? Sadly, that didn't exactly work for him, and he was arrested when he refused to comply and take the clothing off. You have to admit that he did come up with a pretty creative solution to those extremely ridiculous checked baggage fees, right? If only it had worked. It would have been an awesome way to save money. Back in 2012, a woman named Gita Durant tried to smuggle her dead husband Kurt through the airport and onto a flight with the help of her daughter. They were at John Lennon Airport when the body was found. Because they had the ultra-genius idea to pull a Weekend at Bernie's and just prop the dead body up in a wheelchair wearing sunglasses. They told everyone around them that he was just asleep. Of course, he was not asleep, and both women were arrested at the airport. He'd been dead for at least 12 hours at that point, according to the coroner who responded. Word to the wise, visas are serious business, even for babies. Not too long ago, a couple who was trying to fly out of Egypt in the United Arab Emirates were denied their flight because they had a baby with them who didn't have a visa. Their solution? Oh, no big deal, just zip the baby up in a suitcase like he was their luggage. Of course, that plan didn't work, because as soon as the luggage went through the X-ray scanner, the airport discovered exactly what was going on, and the parents were arrested. Not their best parenting decision ever. This sign can be found at Denmark's Aalborg Airport right in their kiss and goodbye zone, which is where people can drop off their loved ones without having to park and pay the exorbitant fees that come with airport parking. No kisses above 3 minutes, guys, and don't even try to break that rule. As ridiculous as it sounds at first, it actually makes sense though, since it's supposed to be a part of the airport that's fast and easy to get out of. If everyone took their sweet time saying goodbye, it would be a disaster for everyone involved. What's wrong with this picture? Nothing is wrong. Just looks like a bunch of dogs were trying to be smuggled onto a plane and the owners ended up getting caught. Nothing to see here, folks. Carry on about your business. Seeing this in real life would probably make a dog lover faint. It's like they were delivered to you before you travel away. There's even a stuffed animal puppy a part of the group. This is truly a classic scene. It looks like Rebecca didn't have a tough time finding her father. She probably asked for her face to be blurred out so she wouldn't be embarrassed on the internet. This just seems like a dad who loves his daughter. However, this is still unbelievable. If Rebecca was an avid Star Wars fan, then this would make a little more sense. Still, if her friends were to see this, they might make fun of her because this is the ultimate dad move. If you've seen the Harry Potter films, then you know Professor Snape has been through a lot. Secretly protecting Potter all those years and then battling evil can be draining. He finally decided he needed some real rest. American Airlines was his first choice. He can still be rude while providing subpar customer service. This is the perfect retirement job for Snape. The only thing is, you can't ask him if he's really Snape or not. If you do, you don't know what might happen to you. Apparently, the person who took this photo has a pilot for a friend. His friend told him when the pilots get bored, they have water gun fights. Because his friend knows that, it isn't so wild. But if you're seeing this for the first time, then it is quite unbelievable. Imagine your pilot running down the runway spraying others with a water gun. Where's the professionalism at? Out the window like the respect you previously had for him. Unless this is a stick that carries magical powers, why in the world is it being checked in? This stick must carry so much sentimental value that whoever brought it with them carries it everywhere. But should the airlines even allow a stick of this magnitude to be traveled with? It looks like it might really hurt someone if that was their objective. That's why you should always be careful in the airport. You never know who has a stick on them. Isn't it annoying how the shoe-shining people practically stalk you and try to get to shine your shoe? Well, it looks like it's their lucky day. These Iron Man knockoffs needed their services desperately. As if they aren't already shiny enough, the robots needed a little boost before boarding their flight. Do they have to get out of their suits before boarding the plane? It doesn't really matter as long as their feet are shining. This man has had it. Long layovers are no longer an issue with this person. If their flight was delayed, then they have this to fall back on. This is something so unbelievable that it is genius. Everybody should consider doing this. In fact, it's more unbelievable that not everyone has taken this up. We wonder if the United Workers allowed this to happen freely without any pushback. If they did, where is faith in humanity still? It looks like a pack of wild animals are about to board a flight. What in the world is going on here? If there are children around, we hope they're scared out of their shoes from seeing human-sized animals walking around. Whatever is going on in Chicago, it must be a great time if you have to arrive as an animal. There's no telling what's going to happen when they run into the police dogs. It looks like young Forrest Gump has stopped with all the running. He's decided to give regular traveling a chance. But as you can see, he still has his Nikes on his feet in case he has to run across the country again. If his flight is canceled, you won't see him booking another one or waiting. He'll take matters into his own hands and run the rest of the way. There's no stopping Mr. Gump. This man is living in 2045. He found a portable chair and decided to travel with it. His feet are fed up with walking everywhere and he just wants to enjoy his overpriced Big Mac. Can you blame him? We wouldn't be surprised if this became a trend, but knowing the airport security and rules, it's unbelievable that he made it this far doing this. Give this man his trophy for beating the system and showing his laziness. In the grand scheme of things, we hope this pilot is joking, but in any event that he isn't, then kudos to him for scaring so many people half to death. Do you think he's really blind, or would you let him fly your plane? Not even fly, would you allow him to co-pilot? If this is real, then it might be best for you to ask for a new flight. Things might go sully real quick. Here's a tale that involves a body at the airport. In January 2018, a dead body was found on the runway in Honolulu. After someone on a plane spoke up about how they saw something out there, airport employees investigated and discovered that it actually was a body. So far, the airport has yet to reveal who the person was that was found or why the person died, but hopefully we'll get more answers about the situation in the future. Considering the fact that Honolulu is such a huge tourist destination, they should probably get this one cleared up as quickly as possible.